When I was just a lad of 10, my father said to me, "Come here and take a lesson from the lovely lemon tree. Don't put your faith in love, my boy," my father said to me. "I fear you'll find that love is like the lovely lemon tree. Lemon tree very pretty, and the lemon flower is sweet, but the fruit of the poor lemon is impossible to eat. Lemon tree very pretty, and the lemon flower is sweet, but the fruit of the poor lemon is impossible to eat." One day beneath the lemon tree, my love and I did lie, a girl so sweet that when she smiled, the stars rose in the sky. We passed that summer lost in love beneath the lemon tree, but the music of her laughter hid my father's words from me. Lemon tree very pretty, and the lemon flower is sweet, but the fruit of the poor lemon is impossible to eat. Lemon tree very pretty, and the lemon flower is sweet, but the fruit of the poor lemon is impossible to eat. One day she left without a word, she took away the sun, and in the dark she left behind, I knew what she had done. She'd left me for another, it's a common tale but true. A sadder man but wiser now, I sing these words to you. Lemon tree very pretty, and the lemon flower is sweet, but the fruit of the poor lemon is impossible to eat. Lemon tree very pretty, and the lemon flower is sweet, but the fruit of the poor lemon is impossible to eat. Well, there you have it. I've been fortunate in life. I've only had a few lost loves, so to speak. And now I have a lovely wife who I don't think would leave me for another, so I don't have to worry about that. Well, today, the reason I chose that song is we are going to make a lemon yogurt freezer pie. Does that sound intriguing? There is a tiny little bit of baking involved, and so let's get to this. All right, the first thing we're going to do is make a graham cracker crumb crust. Interesting story about the graham cracker. I'm not going to tell it to you, but I encourage you to Google the history behind the graham cracker. I think you'll be shocked as to where graham crackers came from and why they were originally made. It has something to do with sex. So there you go. Are you intrigued? Go check it out. All right, it's a pretty simple recipe for graham cracker crust. You want 1.5 cups of graham cracker crumbs. Ta-da! You can buy them, you can make your own, or you can buy graham cracker crumbs already made. Now, I'm making a diabetic-friendly lemon yogurt freezer pie, but you can make this just the regular way. So, the regular way calls for a third of a cup of sugar, white granulated sugar. I'm trying a new product today, and it's called xylitol, and it looks exactly like sugar. So I'm doing 1/3 cup of xylitol. I'm just going to move this up here so you can see it. That's what it looks like. It starts with an X xylitol. I've never used this before, so it's just a bit of an experiment. I've heard it's quite good. And then the third ingredient is 6 tablespoons of melted butter or margarine. Need the spatula for this one. And where is my spatula hiding? It always hides under here. I guess I should have had it out ahead of time. Oh. So 6 tablespoons of melted margarine. Now, if you want to, depending on what you're making, you can actually add 1/4 teaspoon
of ground cinnamon to this, but I'm not doing that today because there will be some cinnamon in the actual filling of the pie. So there we have it. That's your ingredients. Take a fork and mix them all together well. And what you'll get is sort of like a dough. And you really want to make sure they're blended well, that all of the graham cracker crumbs are moist. You don't want any dry ones because then your crust is not going to hold together well. You'll just end up with a bunch of moist, sweet graham cracker crumbs and no binding. So yeah, let's get those blended well together. There we go. It doesn't take a whole lot of work. And of course, we all washed our hands before we started today, right? If you didn't wash your hands, now's a good time to pause the video. If you're doing this as we do it, pause the video and go wash your hands. If you're not making this while you're watching, of course, then you don't need to go wash your hands. Not that it ever hurts to wash your hands. And then you're going to want an 8 to 9 inch pie plate. Just trying to see here. I'm going to tilt the camera down just a bit so you can see a little better what we're doing. There we go. So you're going to take this mixture and you're going to put it in your pie plate. And then we're going to spread it around. So now I'm going to use my fingers, and this is why it's important to have washed your hands, because you're going to do hands-on here. And you want to spread it up the sides, just like a regular pie crust. This is a little easier to make than pastry. If you're not good at making pastry, this is a nice option for quite a few different types of pies. You can't use it for all pies, but for some you can. So we're going to just get that up the sides. Now if you don't want to do this step, if this just seems like too much of a bother, you can actually buy pre-made graham cracker pie crusts. I just like to make my own because I don't have a clue what they put in those ones that you buy at the store. And I'm a little fussy that way. So here we go, we'll get that up the sides. Now this is a 9-inch pie plate, and this is just barely enough graham cracker crust to really do the job. So if you have an 8-inch pie plate, you might want to use that instead. Now the only thing is, having said that, the ingredients for the filling, basically you need a 9-inch pie plate. So maybe I take back what I said, use the 8-inch or 9-inch pie plate instead, and just keep working at it till you get it all nice and evenly spread out and distribute it up the sides of your pie plate. Now you don't have to be as fussy as I am. I suffer OCD, so I like things to look a certain way. There we go. Wash my hands again. And now we have two options, and either one of these works fine for this pie. I'm going to use option 1 today because I want to get this video up sometime before the end of the week, being I'm already 2 days late. The first option is to bake it in the oven at 375 degrees Fahrenheit for 7 minutes. The second option is to chill it in the freezer for an hour. I like 7 minutes better. So we're going to put this in the oven to bake for 7 minutes. We'll set our timer. And she's off to the races. And we're going to fill, or make the filling, sorry. We're going to fill the making. So if you know how to fill the making, you're all set. If you don't, let's make the filling. So for that, we will need 1.5 cups of lemon yogurt. Now you can use regular lemon yogurt, or you can use diet, like Spenda diet lemon yogurt. I'm using actually Activia lemon yogurt, the full bore stuff. I find it makes the pie a little creamier. Find that with the diet, the low fat, it's just not quite as creamy. Probably not quite as friendly for a diabetic diet as the diet yogurt, but sometimes you have to sacrifice a little, you know, fudge. You have to check your equivalents and your what you can trade and suffer a little for the sake of a good dessert. So, my wife tells me that the new rule for diabetics is you can eat anything. It's all about amounts and values rather than about contents of what you're eating. But she still sticks pretty much to the old diet because that's what she grew up with. So 1.5 cups of lemon yogurt, 1.5 cups of unsweetened, okay, you got that? Unsweetened applesauce. Now I guess if you don't mind, you know, things so sweet that you almost can't stand it, you could use sweetened applesauce, but I just recommend the unsweetened. I think it, you don't want your dessert to be too awfully sweet. And being we're doing this to be diabetic friendly, there you go. Okay, now, here's again a choice. I'm using brown sugar Spenda, again trying to make this diet friendly. Brown sugar Spenda is about 4 times as sweet or as potent as regular brown sugar. And on the back of the packets they give you an equivalency chart. So this, if you're going to make it the full-blown normal way and you're not worried about sugar content, you would want 2 teaspoons of brown sugar, of normal brown sugar. I'm going to use 1/2 teaspoon of brown sugar Spenda because that will be amply sweet. That's the equivalent of 2 teaspoons of regular brown sugar. And our last ingredient for the filling is a pretty simple pie, isn't it? Just get the lid open. Is 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon. Now, cinnamon and lemon are not normally something you put together, but cinnamon and apple are. So you don't want a huge amount of cinnamon, just enough to give it a bit of a zip. All right, get out another fork. And now we're just going to blend all this together. You could use a mix master for this, but I mean, for as easy as this is, I think it would be kind of a waste of electricity and making yourself a whole lot more cleanup work to do. But that's up to you. I guess I'm using a fork, but you could probably do as well with a whisk. Oh, there we go. Our pie shell is ready. You want to protect your counter. And you can turn off your oven because you don't need it anymore. And we'll bring that out. Oh, for some reason it's done a strange thing. It doesn't usually do that, but for some reason it has all gone to the center. We'll just let that sit there. Now, before I use this, I need to let it cool. They say up to 2 hours. I'm going to pop this in the fridge and we'll let it cool. Oops, better put this in there. And we'll finish mixing this. So now our ingredients are all together. And now there's nothing we can do for a while because we have to let our pie shell cool for a couple of hours before we can use it. And we'll be back when it's cool and we can put the filling in. Now I'm going to leave the filling out. I'm going to cover it because if I put it in the fridge it'll start to set up and we don't want that. We want it to flow freely to put in the shell and then we'll freeze it afterwards to help it set up. So we'll be back when we can put this baby all together. So don't go away. Well, actually you can. Got a couple hours, right? So you can pause the video here and come back and watch it again in 2 hours. Or you can just carry on watching it because for you, 2 hours is going to seem like that. Alrighty, but don't forget those wise words. Lemon tree very pretty and the lemon flower is sweet, but the fruit of the poor lemon is impossible to eat. See you in a little while. Alrighty, well I know you're all going to be just absolutely shocked, probably horrified to learn that I made a mistake. I said you needed to chill the pie crust for no, you don't need to chill the pie crust for 2 hours. You just need to let it cool for an hour. I apologize on that one. So I guess really it doesn't matter whether you bake your pie crust or chill it. I just prefer to bake mine. So it's baked, it's cooled, it's ready to go. We have our filling that we made earlier, and so now we have the easy part. We simply pour the filling into the graham cracker crust. And it's going to be pretty runny at this point. Remember, this is a frozen pie, so this will set up in the freezer. Now you may be asking, well, why couldn't I just put lemon yogurt in there and have done with it? Well, you could, but there's a difference between a regular yogurt that's frozen and what you call frozen yogurt that you would buy at a frozen yogurt shop. And the fact that frozen yogurt that you buy in the yogurt shop has another ingredient in it to make it kind of a soft serve type thing, whereas regular yogurt, when it freezes, if it's on its own, can actually become as hard as a rock. You can have difficulty getting a fork or spoon into it. So there we've got our filling in there. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to decorate the top using apple slices. I sliced up an apple earlier, and I put the slices in some water with a bit of lemon juice because you don't want your apple slices to go brown. So we're just going to decorate around the top of the pie in a circle with apple slices. There's enough substance to your yogurt and applesauce mix that they'll float on the top. If they start sinking, then you might want to wait till after you freeze it and decorate it before you serve it. So around the outside, I'm just using these slices of apple. I'll bring the camera over for a aerial view in a few minutes, but for now I'm going to do this. I can't tilt this, you see, because the ingredients aren't set. And if I tilted it, well, you'd have a mess all over the counter. And I don't want that, although you might find it humorous, because you don't have to clean it up. So anyway, we just take our apple slices. You're probably going to have more apple slices than you need, and that's okay, because you can just eat the rest. Grab yourself a nice chunk of cheddar cheese and have a nice pie. Now, what I did before I sliced the apple, if I can find it hiding in here. Where are you hiding? There it is. I cut the top off, because I can place that right in the center. There we go. We're going to have apple for a snack here in a little bit. So, this is ready now to go in the freezer. If you really want to put the cream on the cream, so to speak, you could put a maraschino cherry right in the center. But of course, maraschino cherries are basically nuclear bombs for anybody who has sugar diabetes. So hang on a second. I'm going to take a picture of this so you can see what it looks like from the top. And so that's our recipe for today. Simple graham cracker crust, following the proper directions for graham cracker crusts instead of the crazy singing chef's mistaken way. The recipe was fine, it was just the preparation. So you can either chill it or you can bake it and chill it, or bake it and let it cool. Once this is done, it's going to go in the freezer. I'm not going to serve this till tomorrow night, so good idea to make these a day ahead of time. But being it's right around noontime here as I'm doing this, if I wanted to serve this tonight after supper at say 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock, it would I'm sure be frozen and ready to serve. But I just prefer to make them a day ahead. So here it is, and I'll put a photograph of the finished product from the top so you can see how it looks before it goes in the freezer. And hope you enjoyed today's recipe. As I say, you can make this with regular sugar and regular brown sugar, or you can do as I did today and use sugar substitute. I wouldn't use saccharin or any of those things. Use Spenda, or you might try this xylitol. I don't know how good xylitol is. It's the first time I've ever used it, so it'll be interesting to see if there's much difference. I did notice that xylitol does look like regular granulated sugar as opposed to Spenda, which looks a little more sort of flakish. However, I have to say that I have used Spenda for a long time and know what to expect from it and how it reacts, so this is a little bit of an experiment today. All right, hope you've enjoyed today's show. I'll, as always, put the ingredients up somewhere as I go so you can write them down. If you don't want to be bothered writing down recipes as I do them, just want to watch the show, feel free to email me, and I would be happy to email you back with an attachment with the recipe that you can print out. Now, here's some exciting news. Last time I checked, was at 488 subscribers. So I am going to be doing a 500 subscriber giveaway to celebrate 500 subscribers. You're saying, well, aren't you getting a little ahead of yourself here? You know, are you having the horse push the cart instead of pull it? Well, I hope not. But here's what I'm going to do for my 500 subscriber giveaway. There's going to be a first, second, and third prize, all which will be very nice. I'm not going to say what they are now. I'll do another video a little later on. But what you need to do in my videos from now on, preferably in this one today, is just at the bottom and make your comment about the video if you want, or just put "I'm in," and then there is a price of admission. Oh. What I would like you to do is mail me a postcard. My mailing address is at the end, well, usually at the beginning and the end of the video, so it's there for you to use. Send me a postcard. If you're not a person that likes to write, all I need is your channel name, and that's it. If I get a postcard that has Rob Random, that's all it says on it other than the address, to me, I know that's for the draw. Or if you want to write me a note, that's fine too. But let me know in the comments in the video you're in, that way I know to expect your card. And once I've received all the postcards from the people who said they want in, then we'll have the draw, and hopefully that'll be after, I won't do the draw till after I have about 505 subscribers. Why am I waiting the extra 5? Well, as I said, my numbers seem to yo-yo. I went up to 487 the other day, and then next time I checked I was down to 485, and now I'm up to 488. And who knows, next time I check I might be back down to 486. But they seem to fluctuate a little bit. So I want to wait till I'm a little bit past, there's a little bit of a buffer, because I don't want to do the 500 subscriber giveaway when I'm at 500, and then the next day I'm down to 487 or 497 or something. But we'll start taking the entries now. The first place prize is going to be a nice tactical belt pouch that is going to be full of all kinds of goodies. I'm not going to tell you all of them. You'll have to do it when you get them. Also, if you don't have a YouTube channel but you subscribe to this, and I know there are a few people out there that do that, just in the comments say "I'm in," and just send me a postcard with your actual name on it. And again, so I know. You don't have to put your return address on there. I will only ask for that if you are one of the 3 winners. Then at that time I will ask you to send me your snail mail address so I can mail a prize to you. So, without further ado, I will bid you adieu, and take care, stay safe, and God bless.